Well, welcome to the Friday devotional. I should call this the weekend devotional because a number of you don't get to it until Saturday or Sunday. But we are looking at biblical perspectives on spiritual growth. And this will be the second part in a series. And today I want us to look at signs of Christian maturity. And I have 7 signs. We'll see what we can do in the short time we have here today. But sign number 1, and this is how you can tell if you're developing and growing in your Christian faith, all right? Number 1, when you display a servant's heart, you'll know that that's a sign of Christian maturity, when you display a servant's heart. Matthew 20:28 says, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. So as we follow in the footsteps of Jesus, we find that we are on planet Earth to serve others, not to be served, to serve God, not to have him serve us. And interestingly, and then that's Matthew 20:28. In Matthew 16 verse 20, Jesus said, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. What do you mean by that? Well, I saw that on display when I was a youth pastor in California many years ago. There were hundreds and hundreds of youth whose churches gathered together to take a trip to Santa Barbara and spend a week there sharing Christ with whomever and wherever we could. And so there were probably 700, 800 youth who descended upon Santa Barbara, California, to share Jesus with those that were there at parks and hanging out here and there. And then there was a huge rally that we had. But there was a parade, a Jesus parade. These are back in the Jesus days in the late 60s and 70s. And at that parade of Christians, just having banners and having flyers and just marching for Jesus, ending up at the Central Park in the middle of Santa Barbara. I got there late, and I was at the back of the parade. And at the front of the parade, there were several Christian dignitaries that were well known at the time, and they were kind of leading the parade. Well, at the back of the parade, I saw a gentleman with a sack in his hand, a big sack, picking up the trash or the flyers or the things that the Christians had left on the ground in the midst of their parading down the main street. And I walked over and got a little closer look at the person, and it happened to be Chuck Smith of Calvary Chapel fame. And he's there alone picking up trash that Christians had dropped. There was no photographer. He didn't do it to be seen. And I thought to myself, wow, who's the leader of this parade? The first shall be last and the last shall be first. A servant, a true servant in that moment. And that really stood out to me. So you know that Christian maturity is taking place when you have a servant's heart. Number 2, when you are open to counsel. When you are open to counsel. Proverbs 12:15, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise person listens to counsel. You actually want counsel. You want feedback. You want to know how people feel about you doing certain things. You actually want their wisdom, want their perspective. It's not that you accept their perspective necessarily, but you want it because you want to make right decisions. And so you open yourself up to counsel from others, which is something that our flesh doesn't really want to do. We want what we want when we want it, and we don't want to take counsel, possibly from a wife or a husband, because we might know what they would say, and we don't want to be deterred from what we want to do. But a wise person listens to counsel. Let me give you one more. When you are open to correction. So Proverbs 15:31 says, "He whose ear listens to life-giving reproof will dwell among the wise." He whose ear listens to life-giving reproof. Reproof is correction in love. And so we're being corrected. And the one who is wise will listen to correction and not shy away from it or reject it. They'll listen to the correction. Again, you may not agree with the reproof, but we need to hear it because God may be wanting to speak to us through this person. And that person can be anybody. It could be Balaam's donkey. It could be someone who's not living life like they should themselves, but they happen to have something to say to you. Don't reject it. Be listening to the Spirit of God to speak through anything and anybody to help us stay on the right path and make the right decisions. So a wise person will listen to reproof. And that is called correction in love. And believe me, sometimes the reproof or the reaction of people may not be in love. It doesn't matter. We still need to listen to it to see if there's any merit, that if God is trying to speak to us in some unique way. And that is a sign of Christian maturity. So here's some signs of Christian maturity for you on this weekend. Hope you have a great weekend and hope to see you Sunday. Bye-bye.